Greetings and salutations. I'm Nick. With me, as always, is TJ, who's hammered. I'm struggling right here. And Anthony the Rook, I'm trying to open this bottle, and the cork got a little swollen because of the change in temperature in my house. And I've been sitting here while we're sitting here trying to do the intro. I'm trying to pull this cork out. I'm like, son of a bitch. Thank God nobody can see me. It's pretty bad. You ever have that moment where you drop ice somewhere in the room and you don't know, and you're dreading the moment you find it by stepping on a wet puddle of something in the room?
That's
a little chunk of this ice came off of this, and it's on the floor somewhere, and I'm ruining the moment I step on it and just have a wet sock, and I'm just like, son of a bitch. By the way, I call this James fist. That's what my nephew does when he gets mad. He goes like this.
Well, he's going to be doing that when he gets happy and hits puberty.
Good call. Welcome back, boys. Nice to see you.
Good to see you.
Great jersey, Rook.
Thank you. I was just trying to get it on real quick, but I was a little late. You popped me on before I was ready. So
dude, you're trying to get it on. Nick's trying to get it off. Pop that cork. You know what I mean? It's getting fucking crazy now. I'm just sitting here waiting.
Absolutely wild up in here. Let's.
No, he's gonna double fist it.
TJ, fucking kick it off. What do you want to talk about?
What do I want to talk about?
Yeah, well, TJ, what makes you mad?
Are we jumping right into? We'll get to me double fist angry. Oh, sorry.
You have a son, sir. I wish you wouldn't do that.
He's watching right now. I'm not even joking.
Just to preface this conversation right now, we don't get political on this show ever. We don't. But sometimes you kind of get driven into that realm because sometimes sports does get political, or at least somehow politically driven or motivated in certain aspects. And I'll give a perfect example: Colin Kaepernick taking a knee. That's politically driven and motivated. Even at the Olympics, Jesse Owens putting his fist in the air, iconic. But it was a little bit of a political thing. He was showing.
It's a statement.
It's a statement. That's what it was. It was a statement. And sometimes. It doesn't happen all the time, but sometimes we see situations where we see political correctness overcome sports. And I think we've seen it in hockey a little bit where they're trying to reduce the amount of fights that they have because of, some people don't want to see fights. The Washington Commanders having to change their name because of political correctness. And we'll get into that.
Maybe changing their name.
We'll get into that a little bit. But before we keep going, let's get into TJ's situation this week. TJ almost got canceled.
Yeah, crazy things. So first and foremost, I have to start this out by throwing this out there. I was having a lot of interactions about this weekend, and it was 100% me. I was using the our account. It wasn't Nick. It wasn't Rook because these warriors, these very brave people out there, these keyboard commanders, they immediately start asking, "Who is this? Rook? Is this Nick? Is this TJ?" Because they want to see who they're going to try to dox and cancel. And it's always fun.
It was me, and I'd have been like, "I'm a minority. You're a white person. Leave me alone."
Yeah, oh no, that doesn't matter to them. They'll find a different angle of attack. So this is all stemming from a tweet that we put out, which, funny enough, wasn't really like the way everybody took it and the way it should have been taken. Two totally different things, but acting like liberals are irrational. That's no, absolutely not.
It was supposed to be taken as a kind of tongue-in-cheek joke. It was,
but also with some seriousness and the fact that somebody's getting exploited in the situation.
Yeah, but, it was taken like a dick, where it's taken very hard,
very harshly, thrusted upon them.
Holy cow! Pura vida! Greetings from Costa Rica. Welcome back to you. Bienvenidos.
Nice.
Bienvenidos to our show, man.
So, Haley Van Voorhees, right? She gets put in the first time.
Are those the Connecticut Von Voorheeses?
I believe it was the New Jersey Voorheeses, the Jason.
Oh.
She gets thrown into a game as a safety for a couple plays, playing down there at Shenandoah. What is it? Shenandoah University, right? A D3 school that's going nowhere fast, and decides that no, that is let's see, the Shenandoah University Hornets.
I figured
Virginia. Winchester, Virginia.
It's regular Virginia.
Yeah. So
like the Shenandoah Valley is somewhere in that region.
She gets thrown in the game as safety, and they're showing her highlights of her getting a quarterback, rushing the quarterback into a bad throw and essentially forcing a fourth down on a game that's essentially over. And I broke this down very, very, before we get into the nitty gritty, I broke it down very easily for a play. Nick, you're the quarterback. You're just scanning the field. You're watching the defense, right?
Yeah.
A safety runs up to the line, not against the wide receiver, but tucks in next to the lineman, right?
He's blitzing.
Thank you.
Either he's going to blitz or he's going to fake a blitz and follow the running back. If there's a running back. I don't know what the set was.
She walks up to the line,
I think it was,
not against the wide receiver.
I think it was an open set, though. I think there was no running back. They were spread.
Yes.
Right.
But either way, because they were like, oh, they never fucking saw it coming. It's like, no, he saw it coming.
Looked right at her.
So she blitzes. I'm going to get in trouble for saying this. I don't really give a shit. It was a fucking slow blitz, dude. I don't know what she runs in a 40, and I'm not saying I could do better, but when you see a safety in NCAA football go for a blitz, they usually close that 6 or 7 yard gap a lot faster than like 3 seconds.
Untouched, yeah.
Untouched, unblocked because nobody worth their salt is going to block her and hurt her potentially. Gets to the quarterback. The quarterback already had the ball released. She tackles him around the waist, drops down to her knees, and tries to just like wrap herself around his legs and bring him down to the ground. And at the end of it, he essentially just falls on top of her, looks at her, and gets up and walks away. And everybody's losing their mind. Like, this is the greatest, like fucking Deion Sanders came out of the fucking tunnel and just picked the ball one-handed. Like, oh my God, I thought he was coaching college. Like, no, everybody went nuts. Okay. Broke that play down. They knew excuse me. They knew the rush was coming. The blitz was obviously the play. It wasn't some kind of fancy play calling. Yeah, she hurried him up. Great. He was hurried already. He was getting rid of that ball. The ball was out of his hand a second before she got there. But they're celebrating it. And all I said was, and I'll go, verbatim. I'll keep it. Totally not a PR stunt and didn't keep a hardworking male athlete off the field or anything for this or anything with like a frowny face. I don't understand what was more offensive. The fact that 100% it's a PR thing. They're a D3 school that nobody ever heard of before. And they're doing it in a situation that doesn't do anything for the team. So obviously she's not on the team to help win. Because if she gave them a better chance of winning, she'd be in on every play. Not when they're up 26-0. Correct?
Fair.
Okay. D3 school, nothing going for them. Most of this country has never heard of them. So they throw her in there and then immediately put it out to every media outlet imaginable. Because I'm pretty sure ESPN wasn't sitting down there at Shenandoah like, oh man, finally something to report on. I've only been here for 40 fucking years. It's the first time I actually get to call something in. Right? Like it's not what happened.
Like that scene in The Scout where they send him down to Mexico and he finds Steve Nebraska and he's calling up George Steinbrenner like, I found him.
Exactly.
I've been down here for a year. I found somebody.
So it's obviously PR. It's obviously for clicks. And then 100%, a position is getting taken away from somebody that actually earned it. I'm not saying her hard work doesn't put her in a position to earn it, but men and women, unfortunately, for everybody out there that denies this, are completely fucking different. We're built physically different. We are separated by gender in every sport imaginable because of why we are completely different physically. And that's not to say that women can't compete with men and men can't compete with women. But when you're dealing with the top 1%, right, of people playing, let's say, college football, or you're dealing with the top 1% of people that make professional sports, it's a fucking huge margin. The women's national soccer team got smoked by 14-year-olds. Like, it's true. Pretty sure they won those
14-year-olds. They were very talented.
Not trying to diminish them at all, but pretty sure that was after the women won the World Cup. So if they were the best in the world of women, got smoked by 14-year-old boys. Like, there's a fucking severe difference. Serena Williams, right? They asked John McEnroe about Serena Williams when she's at the top of her game. How do you think she'd do against the men? And he said something to the effect of, she wouldn't break into the top 1 or 200. It's just not the same game. He caught
Johnny
fucking
McEnroe.
Dude, he caught hell for it. They tried to end his career. Cancel culture came out hard and fast for him. Like 6 months later, they asked Serena Williams, like, hey, what do you think about playing the men? And she said, why? It's a completely different sport. They serve at like 140-something miles an hour.
I think it's kilometers an hour, but yeah.
Yeah, whatever. Essentially a vast difference. And she said, it's not even the same sport. I wouldn't be able to return a serve. And when they asked her, like, where do you think you'd place? She said, not even in the top 400. Wow. She's like, it's not the same game. But like that's honesty that people don't want to hear. You know what I'm saying? It's and I'm not trying to begrudge women's sports at all, because I sit there and I watch the LPGA tour all the time. I fucking love it.
And those women championing the WNBA playoffs.
Dude, those women would wax me in golf. Like not even close. Okay? It would be an embarrassing loss. And I'm not saying that this girl couldn't kick the shit out of me, because she was pretty jacked, and I think she could kick the shit out of me. But the fact remains that she is 5'6", 145 pounds. I wouldn't go out there on a D3 line and take on linemen or tackles from the opposing fucking team, because I would get my head kicked in. Well, and I'm 205, 210 pounds and fucking 5'7".
That's the reason why even in men's sports and boxing, physical sports for the most part, there's weight gaps, right? You're not having a 200-pound man punch a 145-pound man.
It's just unfair. It's an unfair advantage.
Might die.
So a lot of the people that attacked us, like first I kind of went silly and I tried to just fuck with people because that's my way, and they're already mad. So I figured just turn the screws a little bit. But a couple people that seemed like genuinely that they thought what we were saying, I said very simply, they're literally exploiting this girl at the risk of her dying, essentially. And everybody's like, oh, women can do it too. Eric LeGrand, 6'2", 250 pounds, never getting out of a fucking chair again the rest of his life because of college football. Okay? And it doesn't matter which way you cut it. If it's a guy or a girl, 145 pounds, 5'6" against a 250-pound lineman, you're going to get fucked up. And you're possibly going to get hurt permanently.
That situation with her and her success on that play, if that's what you want to call it, it's kind of like when I threatened to fight my old man, and he's just like, "Let's go." Best case scenario, you beat up an old man. Congratulations. Right. Worst case scenario, you get your ass kicked by an old man. Sounds like you lose no matter what happens. So, like, if you're an offensive lineman, if you're a running back, if you're a quarterback, and you dominate that girl and put her on the ground, best case scenario, you know, you're the guy that hurts, like, didn't hurt that girl. That's your best case scenario. Worst case scenario, you hurt that girl.
And they're protesting outside your fucking dorm for doing your job.
And that's, pretty much. And some will say, oh, but it's Division III. It's not like these guys are going to go play in the NFL. And I'm not going to sit here and argue that, but I will say that Jermaine Johnson from the New York Jets and formerly of Florida State University, he previously played at a JUCO, junior college, which is not Division III. It's lower than Division III. All right. Mm-hmm. And now he's in the NFL. I will say that Jared Verse, who now plays at Florida State University, previously played for Albany, which is Division III. Jared Verse is going to probably be a top 10 pick in the NFL draft next year. So to try to trivialize Division III like they're not good and therefore don't pose a threat to her, I think that's ridiculous. Because to be fair, Eric LeGrand, to your point, he got hurt playing against Army. Now, I'm in the United States Army, and I know one thing about soldiers that play for West Point. They still have to fall in the category of height and weight standards for the United States military. So even like their defensive and offensive linemen aren't as big as a Division I school, and they are a Division I school. Let's not forget that Army is a Division I school. Yeah. But your D-line and O-line are not going to be Alabama big. They're not going to be Florida, Miami, Ohio State, Michigan, Florida State big. Because they have to meet the standard for the United States military, you know? So Eric LeGrand got hurt playing against technically a team that has far less talent than Rutgers does. If you had to look it up right now, how many players from Rutgers are in the NFL, how many players from West Point are in the NFL, I'm pretty sure West Point is putting in less players than Rutgers. So injuries happen in all sports, but I kind of agree with you on that one. As somebody that is a minority, I feel that we are often exploited for PR terms. You know, they'll make a character Hispanic, not because it adds anything to the story, but so they could say, hey boys, we gave you one, you know, don't be upset. And the idea of being the token to me has always been Like, oh, I don't like it. But we digress. We move on.
Yeah,
we
didn't do that here.
Listen, in all seriousness, this girl, Haley Van Voorhees, she's a tremendous athlete. She's in tremendous shape. I give her nothing but support and credit. It's just when it's obvious and you call it out, you immediately get labeled. And the political group that hates labels, right? It was real quick to call me misogynistic and transphobic. I don't understand what was going on there. I believe I said because at least she's a girl, and I gave like a thumbs up. Like, all right, that's again just being funny, and I'm being tongue-in-cheek coy, whatever. I give her nothing but credit and support, but we got to stop acting like there's a reason why men and women don't play, especially physical sports, together. There's physical differences between us, and that's what makes us great, dude. I'm not going to sit here and bash women. I love women. I love my wife. My wife can kick my ass every day of the week, and I'd pay her to do it because I'm into that. Whatever. It is what it is. I love it. But before we get off this topic, shout out to Eric LeGrand. I love that fucking dude. He's an inspiration, and I didn't mean to use him in like this type of tone and any sort of way that would go against his brand because he's an awesome fucking dude, and he's got a bourbon whiskey out, and I'm waiting to get my hands on it because I really want to try it. Yes. I think that might be my next whiskey for whiskey night when we do it with the boys. Shout out to him. Fucking love that dude.
Everyone knows I have 2 daughters, so I'm a girl dad. So
when you have to say hashtag girl dad, it's because you really wanted boys. Moving forward.
Hold on. It seems like Rook, you have a take on being a girl dad. How would you feel watching your daughter get mauled by a 300-pound lineman?
I'd be like, it's so stupid. Why'd you do that?
When I was in high school, hey, go ahead.
I was gonna say the only woman who got more attention at a football game this week was Taylor Swift.
Before we get into Taylor Swift, when I was in high school,
right.
When I was a sophomore, they let the first girl play for our high school football team. I believe it was like the first play in preseason. She ran down on kickoff coverage and immediately broke her ankle. Like, needed plates and screws in her ankle to try and walk like a normal human being. And mind you, that's 13, 14 years old. But we move on to more political correct news. In we'll get into the NFL later, but we're going to talk about this right now because it's NFL related, but not really. The Washington Commanders are being sued right now, and Rook's got more on that.
Yes, so they are being sued by the NAGA, which is a Native American group that was trying to help with the changing of the name when they decided they weren't going to do Redskins anymore. And they're suing the Commanders for defamation because they had said to other groups that they're a fake Native American group. They're not a real group. And I think like something more like they're like 90% of Native Americans join the NAGA. There's something like that in the article. And then I think there was another Native American group that was working with the Washington Commanders. And they went with that group, and they eventually came to the football team and to the Commanders' name. So the issue they were saying was that the Redskins logo, the original Redskins logo, was actually of a man named White Calf,
not White Claw. You fucking drunk.
White Calf, and they're saying that was
Chief White Calf. All right, put a little respect on his name.
Yeah, it was Chief White Calf, and they're saying that's a respectful historical thing and it honors warriors, and football is almost like a warrior sport. So they felt that it honored their culture, and they felt that when they changed the name from Redskins and got rid of the logo, that it, obviously lowered their, or their honor was pretty much gone. So they're not suing to get the name changed back to the Redskins. Obviously they would like that, but they can't do that because you can't compel anyone to make a change like that. But they are suing for defamation because one of the, I think it was a president or something from the Washington Commanders that said that, well, they're pretty much a fake Native American group. And they were like, we wanted to be part of the naming. And they felt the Commanders is actually more of an insult to Native Americans. It's more of a, I'm trying to think of the term, but, like imperialistic almost. Okay. Like they're the conquerors, basically, when you put the name Commanders on it, especially when you get rid of the Redskins and the Redskin logo that was of this great chief that honored their culture. So they're pretty upset. They're filing the defamation suit, and we'll see where it goes. But right now, it's just a starting point of lawsuit, and we'll see what happens.
I'll tell you what. One of the things that I always found to be a detriment when we start changing the names of things because they are now discovered to be offensive. I just feel like, all right, well, let's open up the whole can of worms then, because I don't know if you two are aware of this, but the word Oklahoma is the state, the Oklahoma Sooners and all that stuff is actually a Native American word. It's Choctaw, and it means redskins or red people in Choctaw, because initially Oklahoma was supposed to be reservation land. And only reservation land. Wow. And when they came to the agreement with the white people that, hey, and I'll say that because I'm 15%, I'm 14% Native American.
Dude, you're just under the line where it doesn't count. 15 or better.
Listen, the white man was smart enough to get rid of my entire tribe and mix with them, and therefore we have no casino.
Well, Nick, you broke down Oklahoma. What about Milwaukee?
It's Algonquin for the good land.
Oh, thank you.
And I said the same thing along the lines of recently they decided to change the names of a lot of military posts because they're named after Confederate generals. And they said, oh, that's racist. Those people were racist. You can't name stuff after them. And then I thought to myself, does anybody know what New York is named after? Because it's actually named after the owner of the largest slave trade in the history of the planet Earth. The Duke of Richmond and then eventually the Duke of York owned the largest slave trade in the history of the world, and New York is named for him. So, we changed the names of all these forts and streets and stuff like that. We tore down statues of Theodore Roosevelt that we found to be offensive. When are we changing the name of New York? Because it's named after the guy that owned the largest slave trade in the history of the planet. It's a can of worms, because tomorrow you'll name it after somebody that you thought was a good guy, and then you find out that he beat his wife and raped his kids, and you didn't know about it until 80 years later after you found out that he was a bad guy.
Dick Sargent York.
You fucked it up.
I did fuck it
Dick
up.
York.
Dick York. Sergeant
York. Oh, that's weird.
That's weird. Dude, I don't know. Again, I don't mean to get politically correct and get into a history lesson, but everybody has to stop with the oversimplistic, like everybody that fought for the Confederate Army was racist. It's like, or it was based on economics. Again, not defending slavery, but when you tell an entire half of the country that they are no longer allowed to use their workforce that they've been using.
Well, that's not even the case.
No, it is, because
the
discretion, hold on. The discretion comes from the North, which already industrialized, was like, we don't need slaves anymore, so now we're going to be the fucking good people and get rid of slavery. It's like, it's fucking convenient how you guys did that, right? And again, most of the people down south, it was more or less the fucking taxes that they were also levying. It was a rebellion. Everybody wants to consider the Confederate flag a sign of racism. It's a flag of rebellion against the government. Like, that's all it is
in Star Wars.
It's that literally all it is. Stop using labels on people
guys, are we live?
Oh, I think so.
Don't do that again. Don't do that again.
Got scared.
I will say, from a soldier's perspective, without getting too far into it, I live in New York. If New York was doing something shady, right, whether I agree with it or not, and somebody from another state was like, well, we're going to go to New York and fuck New York up, even if I don't agree with what New York is doing, I'm not going to let you come to my hometown and fuck my town up. It's not going to happen.
Correct.
I'm not waging war on my own town. Like, it's just, where am I going to live?
And the crazy part is, and again, the reason why these generals were honored, and this is a fucking historical fact, is because the South just happened to have the cream of the crop when it came to generals. They had shit supplies. But you had fucking Stonewall Jackson down there, bro. You know what I mean? You had like the fucking A team. It's just that they weren't, that the side of history that they should have been on was the North if they wanted to get their victory, right?
Well, yeah, they didn't want to wage war on their own people, on their own. You can't kill your neighbor and then go move back door next door to him, or you can't kill your neighbor's son and then be like, yeah, I'm still living here, Pete. Like, they'll burn your house down.
Yeah, the thing
don't be a dick, dude.
Before they were obviously Confederate generals, they were American generals.
Yeah, they were American generals. Absolutely. They won a lot of big wars for us. But actually, they named all the forts after them because you can't burn down somebody's town and then name the fort after the guy that did the burning. Because they'll burn down the fort. Like, that's the truth of the matter. That's why they did it. They figured, like, if we name it after their heroes, maybe they'll leave us alone. Sure. It's actually pretty brilliant tactic, actually.
But listen, it's fucking the end of the story. Civil War sucks. Americans killing each other. Slavery bad. We got rid of it. Awesome sauce for us.
Get back to fighting Russia. All right, we move on. I say fight Russia, I mean Rocky IV style.
If I could change,
Wait,
if you could change.
We have to tell Coop to change that intro because that's the reason why the Yankees lost. You see Aaron Judge do a deuce and dip, just like the Yankees season. So you know what? We got to change that for next season.
All right. Well,
Yankee season is a deuce.
I actually went to the Yankee game last Friday, and it was actually pretty lucky for me because the weather was absolutely gorgeous last Friday. Aaron Judge proceeds to hit 3 home runs, making history, being the first Yankee in the history of the Yankees to hit 3 home runs in 2 games in one season. And then they gave out free fleece vests.
That's cool.
Were they nice?
No sponsorship logo. Wow. Just a Yankee NY, no like New York Presbyterian or
no
fucking
Star Insurance.
No Star Insurance.
Dude, nobody wants to hang their hat on this fucking team right now.
Just fucking New York fleece vest. I thought it was gonna be chilly. Threw my fleece vest on while I wore my Bernie Williams authentic.
Nice.
But Yankees and Mets officially out of the playoffs. They are done. Their season is gonna end as soon as the 162 is played. Ironically enough, the Yankees actually have the best record since August, which is kind of sad. It makes you go to understand why Aaron Judge is the captain of this team and how much he actually means to this franchise. Garrett Cole was asked if he could change one thing about this season. What could it be? He said padding at Dodger Stadium.
Yeah.
Talking about Garrett Cole. So real quick, before we get into Garrett Cole, what do you guys think? Yankee season's over. Met season's over. Top 3 most paid for lineups in baseball: the Padres, the Yankees, and the Mets. None of them are making the playoffs. Your thoughts?
I think I want to focus on the positives. Getting to see the kids come up finally.
Yeah.
That was a plus. Getting to see that they're actually worth their salt. And as a Yankee fan, oftentimes we always hear the Cashman rave about our farm system, and we just never see what the product is, right? We always have to wait and see, and then they develop into nothing. That's been the case for the Yankees the past couple of seasons. Getting to see the kids come up and actually produce and have a little fun and just play at the big league level and excel. I think that was a positive. The Mets, I think they made a couple moves where they shed some weight that ended up being awesome weight to shed because some injuries. Right, like, dude, what was it, like 8 days later, bro?
Yeah, shirts are
fucking nuts. But listen, the Mets are in the right spot. They got the right owner. The guy gives a shit. He's going to put money into the team. You guys are trying to win. A little bad luck season, no big deal. Yankees, we knew what was happening from the start. We looked at the lineup. We looked at Cashman and Boone lying to our faces, blowing smoke up our ass and telling us this is the lineup that's going to win us the World Series. I mean, no, it wasn't. But we move on. It is what it is. I'm still going to watch some October baseball. It's going to be awesome, but we're not going to be in it.
Yeah, I think I'll go on the negatives then. I think Boone and Cashman, I think coming into the season trying to convince us that this is a great lineup, where the only big acquisition they did was re-signing their right and center fielder, right, Aaron Judge, and giving him more money, more years, obviously. I mean, I love Judge. Judge obviously is a big, important part of the Yankees. He just get hurt. Might be a different season. We'll be talking about playoffs coming up possibly. And Rodon. And Rodon was hurt immediately. So your 2 big acquisitions were hurt most of the year. And you pretty much ran out the exact same lineup that you had last year. Just because it got you to ALCS, you got to the ALCS and you're 4 games away from the World Series. Problem was you didn't win 1 game in the ALCS. You got swept by the Astros, and they are a class above you. And instead of going into the offseason thinking, let's make some changes, they just thought, we'll run it back. We'll be fine. We'll get back to the ALCS with just Rodon. We just need 1 more pitcher away. We're going to make it. Absolutely not. The bullpen actually is pretty good. I think Canley blew a lot of games, even though I'm a big Tommy Canley fan, but he's not as good. I think his second stint with the Yankees is not being as good as his first stint. As for the Mets had a lot to talk about coming in the offseason. They signed Verlander, they had Scherzer, they spent all this money. They talk about Uncle Stevie's gonna get us a championship. This is the year. And for them to lay an egg the way they did this season, I think if I was Met fan, I'd be completely embarrassed. Dig my head in the dirt and hope for a better next season. I know you might not agree with me, but I knew a lot of Met fans that were predicting World Series a bust, basically.
I'm not
make the playoffs is terrible.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm like, their head was already there. You're a Met fan. Like, when did the paper bag come off your head? That's the question.
True.
It's like I'm a Jets fan. The paper bag's been on my head since 1970.
Pretty much.
I wasn't even born yet, and I was already embarrassed.
Well, the thing is, they popped out of the bag. Here we go. Scherzer, Verlander, Lindor, Correa was supposed to come. That fell apart. So they were like, we're spending a ton of money. This is it. We're gonna.
I mean, if you're a Mets fan, right? And I'm a Jets fan, so I understand the pain and the lost hope and all that stuff. If you're a Mets fan and a Jets fan, what is wrong with you, first of all? But if you're a Mets fan, the minute Correa didn't sign with the Mets, and I'm not saying Correa had a good season, he didn't. But the minute that happened, you kind of got to sit back and go, yeah, we're not winning this year. Like, really, like, if you look at the lineup and the people you have in it, other than the 45-year-old first baseman you got out there and Lindor, I mean, I guess Tommy Pham, what else was there to sit there and be like, they're going to win? Because you had two good pitchers?
No,
because you really only had two good pitchers. That's it.
The Mets didn't made the same mistake as each other. The Mets had a lineup that won over 100 games. Granted, they lost in the first round of the playoffs because they didn't win the division. But to them, they're like, this team's good enough to get to the postseason again. And that's what we want. And then once we had Verlander in a short series against the Padres, now we have two studs pitching, right? We're going to get rid of DeGrom, which they dodged a bullet because he got hurt immediately and he hasn't pitched since. Then they trade Scherzer, and like TJ said, immediately he gets hurt. So they dodge a bullet there again. I mean, they both made the same mistake of just running the lineup back. We were successful last year. We'll be successful again. Their bullpen for the Mets was terrible last year, and they made no improvements to their bullpen. So for them to think
they made a minus. They lost their closer.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, that wasn't their fault, but he got hurt. And then the only bullpen guy they had that was good was David Robertson, and then they traded him obviously halfway through the year because why even bother keeping him at that point? But he was the only good person worth a damn that they signed this offseason to help that bullpen.
Yeah. Moving on, Garrett Cole pitched yesterday, his final start of the season, giving up 0 runs, going the distance.
Cy Young.
Is this the year he gets his first Cy Young?
It's got to be. He's got to get it.
I mean, great numbers.
The stats would say yes.
Stats would say yes, absolutely. I believe he has the lowest ERA in the league right now, at least the American League.
I think he has the most innings pitched too in like the major leagues.
His whip is 0.98.
Yeah, that's a big number.
That's pretty impressive. That means that, for those who don't know what whip is, walks plus hits divided by innings pitched, arguably means that he lets on less than one person per inning that he is pitching. Very impressive. He generally always gives you a quality start.
Yeah.
A quality start being any start where he gives up less than 3 runs over 5 innings. That's a new thing for those who are unaware of it. But I think he gets his first Cy Young this year. And it's really kind of sad when you really look at it. The Yankees are about to have the American League Cy Young Award winner. And if Judge doesn't get hurt, you got to sit there and think that he repeats as the MLB AL MVP. Simply because right now he's got 35, 36 home runs. And he missed 70 games, 65 games?
He missed 54 games.
He missed 54 games. And how many home runs does he have? 36?
I think it's 36.
36. And he missed 54, over 50 games missed, which is arguably almost about a third of the season. No, 54 is a third of the season. That's perfect math. That is literally 1/3 of the season, 162 games. 54 times 3 is 162. No, is it 162? Maybe not. I'm not going to do math on the air. That's how you make everybody know you're stupid.
He has 37 home runs after yesterday. He's had 2 home runs yesterday.
He has 37 home runs and he missed 54 games. There's no way in my head.
Exactly 1/3. Oh my God.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Damn, I'm good at math. They could use me in Oklahoma. Yeah, I mean, the Yankees have potential MLB MVP and Cy Young, and they didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah,
they didn't make the playoffs too, because Magic going to the playoffs with Cole pitching this well. Like, he's always pitched well as a Yankee, but he's like on another level this year. Like, imagine going to the playoffs with a guy who doesn't let one person on per inning.
You know what really grinds my gears? TJ went into what grinds his gears before, like earlier. I'm going to tell you what grinds my gears. There's
a lot.
What grinds my gears as a Yankee fan is whenever we have somebody who is overpriced on the team and some idiot fucking Yankee fan out there in Twitterverse goes, but how do you get rid of that contract? Like this, you cut the motherfucker, say, stay home. That's how you get rid of that contract. It's the Yankees. They're worth $8 billion. Do you seriously think the $50 million that they owe a player or the $100 million that they owe a player over the course of the next 4 years, 3 years, however long it is, puts a dent in their payroll? Do you really think that?
Not even a
They
little bit.
probably make $1 billion a season. And we've gone through the numbers on the show before where the Yankees pay that their value has increased like fourfold in the last 10 years, but their payroll has increased like $4 million in the past 10 years. So
not even that.
The value of the franchise is going up, but the value of the franchise due to payroll increases is doing nothing. It literally is nothing. It's one. It used to be 1/10 of the overall value of the franchise. It is now like 1/25th or 1/30th of the overall value of the franchise. So clearly, payroll don't mean shit to this team.
Yeah, not even that. Think about all the injuries of the guys that are paying that didn't play this year. There's something where they spent about $80 million in players that didn't play.
And that's the killer for me. In other Yankee news, Hal Steinbrenner is going to have an audit of the entire front office. And TJ, you said it was nice to see the youngsters come up. Hal Steinbrenner is actually the guy that made sure that Jason Dominguez and Austin Wells got called up, allegedly. I won't sit here and say that was a fact, but that is the story that is circulating amongst the media, is that Hal Steinbrenner made that call to call up Jason Dominguez. And if that's the case, fire Brian Cashman immediately. If you have to start making decisions for your general manager because he won't make them, fire him. He's useless. Jerry Jones, that shit, and do it yourself.
I think
if you remember,
that was
who signed Aaron Judge?
Hal Steinbrenner signed Aaron Judge.
Sorry, TJ, you go.
No, I was going to say, could it be the case? Sure. In reality, is it very simply that he's trying to save face because he's going to be the only one left when he axes everybody else? Also possible. You know what I mean? Yeah. He could float that story out there for himself. Very simply because he might be the only one left next year in the front office. He's going to be sitting in a whole bunch of empty chairs like, ooh, can I hire somebody there, somebody there, somebody there. I don't even have to wear pants today. Fuck it.
Some of the conversations that I have seen is talking about bringing the Marlins general manager in to replace Cashman. And all I could stop and think was, why? Because the Marlins have had unbelievable success over the course of the last 20 years. Is that why? But again, woke hiring, if we bring her on, that's simply a PR stunt. Like, she has no... Like, if we're going to bring over somebody from the Atlanta Braves organization, let's talk about that. I'll do that all day. I'll do somebody from the Astros, bring them on over. Tampa Bay Rays, bring them on over. No, I'm not going to sit here and poo-poo those teams. But basically, bringing this I can't remember her name from the Marlins. You bring her on, you might as well call the guy from Pittsburgh. Bring him on too.
Yeah. It doesn't make sense. There's no defined like, oh, I see exactly why they would do that. Other than
Kim Na,
PR.
I think.
Yes, it is. I wanted to say Kim like 6 times, and I'm like, that's racist. I can't call her that.
No, her name is Kim though. But the thing is, it's not no knock on her. It's just the Marlins organization hasn't been successful.
Show me the
repertoire. If you're going to pull someone from someone else, you want to pull from a successful organization with like the Braves,
correct,
the Rays, or the Astros.
There's no reason. There's no precedent. There's no like, oh, this is the person we got to key in on because of X, Y, and Z.
He developed somebody.
Yeah. Right. There's nothing there.
2 people, maybe 3 people in the last 15 years come from the Marlins that actually do something, right? Alcantara.
She gets rumored because she used to work on their Cashman.
That's not a positive. And we move on because that's not a positive. I'm not even going to talk. Thomas, hit me with some Rangers.
Wait.
This guy.
I wasn't saying that's a positive. I was just saying that's why she's getting rumored, because she used to work with the Yankees. Sorry. Whatever. Back to the Rangers.
There's a rumor that fucking Marilyn Monroe was fucking JFK while she was married to Joe DiMaggio. I don't want to talk about that either.
That's not a rumor. That's true. Everyone knows that's true.
There's also a rumor that the FBI killed her. TJ, hockey.
That's true too.
Give it to me.
Don't say my name after saying the feds, bro. Come on. What the fuck? We just lost all our viewers now too because they're like, yeah, we're out. We're not getting fucking swatted.
The FBI is watching. They're moving now.
It was. They have the. They're on the roof. Yeah, dude. New York Rangers hockey, little preseason action. We lose to Boston 3-0, but we pretty much put out there a team of just future Rangers, essentially. A lot of the Rangers staff, like the guys that are no shit, they're going to be on the roster and make the team. They stayed back in New York and they held their own like kind of training camp practice situation. Then the Rangers come back Tuesday night, home at the Garden, and they light it up, dude. Like 15 seconds in, Capo Caco roofs one. Rangers end up winning 4-2 against the Islanders. Excellent game, dude. Excellent game. Like the only highlight I would say from the Boston game was what's his name? Give me a second.
Hoffman?
No. What's his face? Got in the fight.
No. Oh,
so bad.
Harper, yeah.
Thank you, Harper. Harper beat the fucking bricks off that dude. It wasn't even like he ragdolled. It was bad. It was awesome. I love seeing it. A little fight out of him. We need somebody on the ice that's going to be able to protect the young kids, especially if you bring somebody like Hoffman up. You need somebody to put that physicality out there because, it's Northeast hockey. You got to be physical. When you're playing teams like the Flyers, the Devils, Boston, even the Islanders, you got to get out there and you got to bang the body. So that was good to see. The Islander game, dude, offense came out fast and furious. That Capo Caco goal was exceptional. It's just at this point, I'm focusing on Brendan Hoffman because I want to see him make the team and I want to see him make that transition as a player that you can't let leave training camp headed back for the minors. And I don't know, he's holding his own out there, but because he's not doing anything razzle dazzle, you just know he's going down and they're not going to try to make room or sit somebody for him, even though I think he should be up here developing. I hate to see it. I have a feeling he's going to be the first one up.
You've said it many times, though, T. You can't do anything. You can't do anything playing 2 minutes a game. You're not developing on the fourth line.
No, not
You've
at all.
said that many a time.
Not at all. Not at all. But I think he would be a great addition to the second line. There's ways of putting him in on the second line. There's ways of keeping him up here, even if you healthy scratch him some games. Like it's just. The development has to come because, listen, hockey's a dangerous sport. People get hurt constantly. Even though these guys are pretty badass, tough guys, you never hear somebody like, I pulled my oblique. Like that. None of that baseball shit. You fucking go out there with like broken wrists and shit. I mean, but guys do get hurt. And the 80-something games that they're going to play, right? The 82 games they're going to play, you got to expect you're going to need this guy to come up. And I honestly think he's the first call up. You know, anybody that's a forward, anybody that's a winger, he's coming up. There's some questions for the team, like people like I don't know, Barclay Goudreau. I get we're paying him a lot of money, but I don't see the value in him anymore. I really don't, and it just irritates me. It's like, yeah, well, we're paying him, so he's playing. It doesn't matter. It's like, dude, you might want to bring this kid up now because in a couple of years you're probably going to be paying him out the ass and have to watch him walk away like Kovalov. You know what I mean? Like it's. Dude, you're not paying him much already. Get him up here.
I'm tired of hearing about Kovalev. I'm not gonna lie to you. You bring him up at least
once.
Dude,
I mean,
when it's hockey season, the first name out of your mouth is Kovalev. Every time.
Because, dude, who else was that exceptional after they left the Rangers?
He wasn't even good when he came back to the Rangers, though.
No, when he came back, yeah, because he blew his load and fucking 6 seasons in between, 7 seasons in between, something like that.
I get that. I'm just saying.
He wasted all the good shots, bro.
Kovalev. Every time. If it's not JT Miller, it's fucking Alexei Kovalev.
Listen, it is what it is. Jonathan Quick on the Rangers, dude. Rangers backup. I actually really like that.
So fucking weird.
And then you hear how he grew up a diehard Rangers fan. It's like fucking welcome home, dude.
Didn't we all?
I just like the fact that if Shesterkin goes down or needs a couple games, I have no problem turning it over to Quick.
Sir. Why would you put that into the ether? Fucking Rook Jr. over here.
It's a fact, dude. Him as a backup where he could be starting in half the league still. Like three Stanley Cups for Jonathan Quick?
Yeah.
Yeah, but he didn't play last year with the Knights. Like he wasn't part of that
Stanley Cups. 3 Stanley Cups.
No, I get what you mean, but
how many do you have, Rook?
I don't have any.
All right, if you take one away from
really
Jonathan Quick, is it still a good career?
You know, it's a great career.
The way you just said that I don't have any, it sounded like you were really upset about it.
Well,
did you
I'm
think?
a Ranger fan, so I don't have any. Literally.
Did you think that at this point in your life you would have at least one Stanley Cup?
I thought the Rangers would win another one. That's the close I get to a Stanley Cup.
So I'm gonna.
If they don't win it this year, like this is the case. They don't win it this year. We pull a Celtic pride, and not only do we kidnap Damon Wayans, we kidnap the Stanley Cup and the guy that controls the cup, because like you can't get him in trouble.
So that's my question for you. We're thinking about making a screenplay about a hard on his luck fan of a team that has never seen a Stanley Cup win. And he goes to steal the Stanley Cup Ocean's 11 style for his team. I'm green lighting that right now. We're going to write that movie. Let us know if you're down to watch it. It's going to be a little bit of a mix between Ocean's 11 and
Celtic pride.
No, funnier than that. It'll be something in between.
Streak.
Huh? And Blue Streak. Yes. Yes. All I can tell you is that he's gay. Gay. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna. Not that that's a bad thing. I'm just saying.
Oh man.
So I can tell you about the guy. We move on. Driving forward. We're running out of time. We spent too much time bitching about this girl playing for fucking Shenandoah Valley. TJ, you got any new whiskeys for me?
Yeah, you know what? I got something special tonight.
The week.
Go.
When it first comes out, it sounds like a fart.
Let me guess. It tastes like vanilla and caramel.
No, actually. So I decided since we did it, maybe Bananas Foster. No Bananas Foster. Since there was an attempted coup and we were entered into the ethos, if you will, of cancel culture, and we escaped with our heads held high, I figured I'd celebrate a little bit with a little Pappy Van Winkle 12-year. Just saying, only about $1,100 in a bottle sitting right there.
Oh, wow.
To being uncancelable. Because who gives a fuck about us anyway?
My mom loves us. My dad does too, and your dad loves us.
We love your mom. It's true. Shout out to my dad, by the way. My father just had knee surgery, got his meniscus done. He had his one leg done last year. He had his other leg done this year. So he should be a golfing machine come springtime next year. But he's sitting at home resting up.
Is that he's ahead of Nick Chubb on the depth chart?
A little bit.
Okay.
Get well, Big Tom.
No.
Get well soon, Big Tom. We love you.
Dude, not for nothing. This whiskey is amazing.
$1,100. I hope the fuck so.
Only 90.4 proof. 90.4 proof, but has enough oomph that lets you know it's there. But very smooth and very oaky. You get a lot of the barrel. You get a lot of the wood flavor. Absolutely delicious. Would I pay secondary price for this? Absolutely not. If somebody would like to hand me $1,000 right now, they can have this. Because I did not pay $1,000. But it's still a good special whiskey. Only comes out every once in a while. As you can see, I barely touched it because I will probably never see a bottle like this again. But just the age on it really comes through on the nose and then again on the palate. It's a long finish. It coats the entire palate. Absolutely delicious. A little sweet, a little like tannic, a little acid to it, and then that wood comes through big time. I don't know about you guys. What are you guys sipping on?
I am sipping on Penelope Architect. I think it's called. Yeah, Architect.
You're a lawyer.
Oh, the Garden State blend. I saw that the last time I was in the liquor
blend.
store over the outer bridge.
French oak staves. That's the only part I don't like because it's French. But as TJ always says, it is oaky. Those French oak staves really do.
Did that bottle surrender to you?
It did. It popped out and just waved the white flag, and I just
waved the white flag.
I'll buy it. Waved the white flag. I said I'll buy it. But no, it's definitely oaky. It's smooth. It coats the entire palate.
What the fuck is this, bro? Like you reading my Cliff Notes? You son of a bitch. I feel like I'm getting ripped off, being exploited.
You could taste the hints of the vanilla and the caramel in the back of the throat.
Me and Haley Van Voorhees. Haley Van Voorhees are just absolutely getting exploited, and we will not stand for it. And she will kick your ass, Brooke, because she's jacked.
She would kick my ass 100%. I agree. I 100%
I'd
agree
watch.
with that.
It'd be hot.
I don't know about that part, but
You don't think it would be hot if I played you back a video of this girl is teeing off on you?
I think it's hot. I think it's weird that you thought it would be hot for Rook to get beat up.
Yeah.
I mean, like two awesome fantasies is just like a good-looking Rip girl and then Rook getting his ass kicked. I mean, what do you dream about at night?
TJ just in the corner go to town on himself. Just fucking, this is awesome. It's so hot. Get my ass kicked. Blood and semen are mixing it together.
Oh my God. The dry cleaner's like, yeah, we've seen this combination before. Oh shit.
Anything else to say about that?
That would be the second violent act taking place in that room.
Yeah. This is, it's good. Get it. If you're in the Garden State, I guess, right? They only sell in the Garden State. Is that how that works?
Yeah, that blend would obviously only be in the Garden State.
Yeah,
I mean, if Nick walked past that label in New York, he'd like knock it off the shelf.
That's a fucking fact. It tastes like a lack of self-respect, and does it taste like wannabeism?
Tastes like Trenton water.
We say this to last. We got 8 minutes left to talk about it. Less than 8 minutes, 7 minutes and a half. I don't want to talk about it. I'm upset. My feelings are hurt.
No, we have to.
I will say one thing before. I only have one thing to interject about either one of these two teams. The type of media coverage that the Jets and Giants get could not be more opposite. Giants lose on Thursday Night Football, get smacked around, strong and independent. Jets lose on Sunday, broken and hopeless. Somebody explain this to me, all right?
The expectation. It's the expectation.
I'm sorry, the Giants made the fucking playoffs last year.
It doesn't mean shit.
How do they have no expectation? And this is the way it's
because they don't. You knew they weren't going to. Dude, you saw the team that they put out there last year. You saw their faults. You saw exactly what they did. They kept Daniel Jones from throwing the ball downfield. Saquon Barkley had an amazing season. And they turn around and pay Daniel Jones and fucking screw over Saquon.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Expectations go when they lose their Hall of Fame quarterback.
I'm just saying the Jets had expectations because of just the studs that we drafted. And great job by the Jets front office.
I get that, but it's predicated on having somebody to throw them the ball.
I agree. And I don't think anybody expected what happened to Aaron Rodgers was even in the realm of possibility within, let's say, the first couple weeks, other than you sick son of a bitch.
I didn't say anything, but I felt it. I thought it was going to happen in the preseason, if I'm being honest. When he was going to play against the Giants, I was like, fuck, here we go.
So, and then on top of it, nobody thought that. Listen, it is what it is. Zach Wilson, it's a failed experiment at this point. It's just not going to work out. And the problem is the Jet season is far from over. We're not that deep into this fucking shit show. You know what I mean? But there's nothing really out there to attain. There's no money to attain somebody that's going to put you back into the, hey, these guys are playoff bound. It's not going to happen. But you cannot sit there and let Zach Wilson continue to go out there and make the mistakes that he's making and regress. Whether it's just unfair on him because of the pressure, he wasn't prepared to be out there this early in this season. He didn't think he was going to have to play it all with Aaron Rodgers. Whatever it is, the fan base, the media, everybody's up his ass. I understand that. It doesn't change the fact that the guy's not producing. Last game, he 100% regressed. I mean, he fucking sacked himself. And what's going to end up happening is you're going to have guys, especially guys that have it written in their contract, where they can make extra money if they hit certain marks. It's just not, excuse me, it's not going to happen. And you're going to have just an anger on that team, defense and offense. You're going to get an animosity that's going to develop because the defense is going to be sick and tired of being on the fucking field for 45 minutes out of 60. And the offense is just not generating any type of plays, yardages, touchdowns, scores, nothing. No highlight reel action at all. So the team is going to fall apart from within. You can't let it happen. You can't do it. The Jets pick up Simeon. Do I think that's the answer? No. Could he be better than Zach Wilson? I think so, because at least he's competent. He's not lost back there, because 2 quarters in, dude, Zach Wilson was done. He was gone. He was lost.
I honestly don't think Zach Wilson's lost. I think he's terrified. I do. The guy looks like when they put him in that first game, he looked sick because I think he's terrified of these fans, and I can't blame him. Like, and the fact that he came out today and he was kind of just like, I haven't played well. I need to be better. And Joe Namath is passionate. And I understand Joe Namath made poor comments about Zach Wilson, as if I really give a fuck what Joe Namath thinks. He's the reason this team is cursed.
You try to kiss Susie.
But point is that if I was Zach Wilson, I'd be like, yo, fuck these fans. The reason we suck and the reason I suck, I caught it from them because they're fucking losers. If they weren't losers, they wouldn't be Jets fans. Like, if I was Zach Wilson, I would turn full heel. I would just, oh, fine. I'd be The Rock when The Rock turned to the Nation of Domination, where people were booing him and screaming, die, Rocky, die. And he was finally like, you know what? Fuck you people. I've been trying to win you over. Fuck you. That's what if I was Zach Wilson, that's what I would be doing. I'd be like, you know what? You want to boo me? Fuck you. I'm going to fuck your mom after the game, after we lose. That's what I would say. I'm going to throw 3 interceptions. I'm richer than all of you, and I'm going to bang your mom. And
after every
video about it.
After every interception and sack, Zach Wilson just goes, he gives the gold dust to the crowd. And everybody's like, what are you doing? You don't celebrate that.
If I was Zach Wilson, I would throw interceptions, look at the camera and go, he's a villain anyway. So trying to win these people over is just pointless. I just embrace that shit. Okay.
Wilson's just hitting wide open corners that take it to the hole for 6 the other way. And it's like, oh, they can put up 6 for me. I don't know about you fuckers.
Like, yo, he just took it to the hole and took it back. Yeah, I'm going to take it to your mom's hole later. Drive on. Look, talk to me about the Giants. We've got a little bit of time left. Talk to me about the Giants.
No offensive line. Andrew Thomas, the best player on the team, and he wasn't playing last week. They hung around that game, but you knew they weren't coming back at any point. They need Saquon. Saquon's the engine of that offense. Without him in it, they're not going to be successful. So hopefully he has a long break here. He didn't play last game. Maybe he'll play Monday night, but we'll see. As for the Jets, I do get tired of sports talk radio because they literally will beat a dead horse. We get it. Zach Wilson sucks. I get they have to fill time, but just talk about other things at that point. I can't hear about Zach Wilson sucks so much.
Dude, I laughed so hard. Did you not see the Gio comments from Boomer and Gio? He was going off, and he's a Vikings fan, but at one point he goes, if I was Woody Johnson, I would walk down to the side of the field, take Zach Wilson's helmet, and take a fucking shit in it.
Yes, I
was like, this guy has to have a working relationship with the team.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
And he's telling the owner to take a dump in a helmet right on the sidelines.
Yeah,
I'm tired of the same old Jets because it is same old Jets. It really is. And you know what? Ultimately, for me, I really do think Joe Namath cursed this franchise. There's some black magic involved. It just doesn't make sense. It's impossible. There has to be something going. Maybe they built that stadium on an Indian burial ground, and the fucking.
That's what I said.
The ghost of Chief White Calf is fucking cursing. Yeah. I don't know, but we'll see what happens. Taylor Swift will be at the game on Sunday night, and tickets went up fucking like 60% overnight because all of these mid fucking women want to go see the queen of the basic white girls be there, I guess. I swear to God, you know how like the Powder Puff Girls are like sugar, spice, and everything nice. Taylor Swift is literally leggings, Uggs, fucking pumpkin spice, and infinity scarves embodied as a human being. That's who she is. And with that, Rook, you have something to say?
I'll save it. I don't want to say
we got to get going. So say it now or
no, I'll tell you guys.
All right. We'll catch you again next week.
Leave us in suspense.
And chicken grease.